today I'm going to be providing you guys with 4 MP7 best class setups that you need to be using right now, whether you are an aggressive player, a stealth player, or you're a player that likes to hang back and play reserved, or if you simply like Warzone. I got 4 MP7 best class setups that you should definitely try out. If you guys do enjoy this series and you want to see me cover more weapons, make sure to leave a like on this video so I know this is the kind of content that you want to continue to see. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss those future videos. Join Turbo Nation today, and also let me know down below in the comments which weapon you want to see featured next. So for the MP7, we already know it's one of the most popular weapons in the game and is really easy to control from long distance. Now with that said, it does have its weaknesses, and that's going to be from long range. The closer you are to the target, the better chance you will have at minimizing that time to kill. Always try to go for those headshots, especially if you're playing Warzone. You definitely need to go for the headshots because it does have 124 millisecond time to kill potential, which is absolutely insane. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let's get into the aggressive class setup. So this class setup is going to be more so for the aggressive type of player. You're going to be playing up close and personal, and this is going to be best used on smaller maps. All right, so for the barrel, I'm going to be rolling with the FSS Recon. Now the FSS Recon is a very popular choice amongst all players of all skill levels because it offers the best damage range increase as well as that bullet velocity, which is going to be very important if you're trying to beam people from long range. And that added bonus of recoil control is going to help this thing become a laser. So if you're really accurate with your shots, definitely try to go for those headshots as I mentioned earlier, and you will drop your opponents much faster. So moving on to the next attachment, we are going to be putting on that no stock attachment. This will increase our movement speed as well as aim down sight speed. So essentially this is negating the negatives that we see on the FSS Recon barrel, and this is going to also be important when you're rushing around the map and you're playing up close and personal. You are going to need faster movement speed as well. All right, so for our perk, we are going to be using fully loaded. Now I feel like this is especially important in the MP7 because of how fast the fire rate is. You're going to be going through your bullets really quickly, especially since with the specific ammo that the MP7 does use, it's really going to be hard to find a lot of MP7 ammo around the map. So having that fully loaded perk is going to give you the max amount of starting ammo. All right, for the rear grip, this one is a must-have on any aggressive class setup. You need the stippled grip tape. This one's going to give you that aim down sight speed as well as that sprint to fire speed to be able to pull up your gun faster after coming from a sprint. All right, so moving on to the ammunition, we're going to be running with the 60 round magazine. Going back to how I said you are going to be running out of ammo fairly quickly, having that 60 round magazine is going to give you that insurance that you will not run out of ammo as fast. So another essential component to this class setup is going to be your perk selection. You do have some choices for the perk 1 selection. You can't really go wrong with any of these perks. However, I do choose to go with EOD because I want that extra insurance that I'm not going to die to something stupid like a claymore or somebody throwing a C4 at me, essentially knocking me off of my kill streak. So I want to stay alive as long as we possibly can, and having EOD definitely gives me that insurance. Now for perk 2, we are going to be running with restock. This one's going to allow you to recharge your equipment over the course of 25 seconds, and there's no better feeling than to be able to just keep rushing around the map and always staying stocked up on whatever equipment you so choose to have. Now in this case, I am going to recommend using the C4 and the stim shot. 2 great choices for running and gunning. Now for perk 3, we are going to combine this with shrapnel. So shrapnel is going to allow you to have 2 C4s, 2 stim shots. If you really want to reduce the amount of shots it takes to kill, I definitely recommend running with the stopping power field upgrade. So you get a 2 for 1. Number 1, you are going to be reducing the amount of shots it takes to kill somebody, and at the same time, you are going to be able to replenish your ammo when you use stopping power. All right, so moving on to the stealth class setup. So this one is probably my favorite class setup, mainly because I'm a solo player. So staying as stealth as possible is important to me so that I can stay alive as long as I possibly can. For the muzzle, I'm going to be using that monolithic suppressor. This one's going to be very helpful so that the enemies don't really hear our weapon firing as much, and at the same time it's going to keep our weapon fire off of that enemy compass. Now like I said earlier, it doesn't really have that great of a damage range, but adding the monolithic suppressor, you definitely get a 2 for 1 of being stealthy and increasing that range. Now for the barrel, we are going to be running with the FSS Recon. This one is going to give you about 30% damage range increase, and as well as that bullet velocity and recoil control that we did discuss. Same thing for the the aggressive class setup. Now for the stock, we are also going to be running with no stock attachment for that movement speed and aim down sight speed, just to be able to negate the negatives that are seen on the FSS Recon barrel. For the rear grip, we are going to be running with the stippled grip tape, and the ammunition we are running with the 60 round magazines. Now I know this setup is very similar to the aggressive class setup, minus the fact that we do have the monolithic suppressor on here, but that is the reason why the MP7 is very popular, because you don't really have to tamper with it too much to be able to fit a certain playstyle. It's very versatile. If you want to stay as stealthy as possible, you do need the right perk selection. So for perk 1, we are going to be running with EOD for the same exact reasons that we're running it on the aggressive class setup. We just want that insurance that we're not going to die to anything ridiculous that could have been avoided, such as explosives. When you're flanking around the map, there is a possibility that you could run into random claymores. For perk 2, we are going to be running with Ghost. Ghost is very important to being as stealthy as possible. When the enemy does call in the UAV and you're flanking around the map and you're by yourself, you will stick out like a sore thumb, and they are going to come after you and attack you. All right, and the last and final perk is going to be Tracker. And so this one's going to be very important for a flanking type of playstyle, because when you think of flanking, you try to attack the enemies from behind. So when you do see those footprints, you are going to be able to follow them directly to where the enemies are. But make sure before you just follow it blindly, make sure that the situation is safe enough before you decide to go for the kill. The last important component to a stealth class setup such as this is you are going to be using the Dead Silence field upgrade. So whenever you do get it, make sure you turn it on right away in the best situations possible. Don't just use it for no reason. Make sure there is a reason behind it, such as when you're about to flank somebody, or you are around multiple enemies at a time and you're trying to escape the situation. You don't want them to hear your footsteps. Definitely pop that Dead Silence. All right, so moving on to the balanced class setup. So this one is more for those people who play a little bit more reserved. You have to keep in mind the aim down sight speed is not going to be as good as the previous 2 class setups that I featured. So you do have to play a little bit more reserved in order to maximize the potential of this class setup. And this class setup is certainly best used on medium and larger maps. So for the first attachment, we're going to be running with the monolithic suppressor. Then for the barrel, we're running with the FSS Recon. And for the stock, we are going to be using that FSS close quarters stock. This one's simply just going to give you that aim down sight speed with no real penalties that we have to worry about. And the rear grip is going to be the stippled grip tape. And for ammunition, we are running with the 60 round mags. And as for perks go, we're going to be running with EOD, Ghost, and for perk 3, I do recommend using Tune-Up. Now, the reason why I recommend using Tune-Up is so that you are able to get your field upgrade that much faster. And another important component to this balanced class setup is that I want you guys to be running that munitions box field upgrade. That way, you don't really have to worry about running out of ammo. And also, you don't have to worry about running around the map trying to find a different gun. Always keep an eye on how much ammo you have on the MP7 is very important. Last but not least, this is my MP7 Warzone class setup. So this one is configured a little bit differently. When you think of Warzone, you think about long range combat, you think about accuracy. You don't really think too much about having a lot of speed on your side, because most of your gunfights and engagements are going to be from long range, and you will need really good accuracy. Now, the MP7 is accurate as is, but there are attachments on it that will be able to make it a laser from super long distance, especially when using it in Warzone. So for the muzzle, I am going to be using monolithic suppressor. Warzone is one of those game modes where you want to stay alive as long as possible, and having your weapon suppressed is definitely going to help you accomplish that as well. Once you expose yourself on the minimap, teams are definitely going to be going after you because they're thirsty for those kills, so you have to stay as stealthy as you possibly can. Now for the barrel, we are going to be running with the FSS Recon. Like I said earlier, this does give you the max amount of damage range, as well as that bullet velocity and the recoil control, which is going to be very essential in long range gunfights. Now for Warzone, we are not going to be using a stock on it. We don't really need any of the stock attachments because those pros aren't really that much needed for Warzone. Now for the rear grip, we are going to be running with the stippled grip tape, however, because this one's going to give us that aim down sight speed as well as sprint to fire speed. So this attachment gives you a 2-for-1. It's more for negating the negatives that are seen on the barrel and the monolithic that do reduce your aim down sight speed. And the sprint to fire speed is there to certainly help you bring your gun up a little bit faster in those close quarter combat situations should they arise. So it's always good to have it for good insurance, even though most of your gunfights are probably going to happen at long distance. Now for the ammunition, of course we have to run with a 60 round magazine. We're going to need as much ammo as we possibly can in Warzone because of the likelihood of missing our shots. However, like I said earlier in the video, if you're going to be using the MP7, you definitely need to try to go for those headshots. Headshots will knock down an opponent so much faster in Warzone, regardless if they do have that body armor on. Now for the underbarrel, this is what is going to make the MP7 an absolute laser in Warzone, no matter what the range is. The Merc foregrip is going to be important in helping you with that recoil control, as well as that hip fire accuracy to combine with the stippled grip tape for those close quarter combat situations. And another reason why I put the Merc foregrip on it is because the MP7 is not really great with hip fire accuracy. So adding the Merc foregrip definitely does improve it in that respect. All right, so for the secondary, we're going to be rolling with the RPG. This one's very helpful for launching into buildings or just launching at people in endgame situations. So if you need to resort to your RPG from long range, it's definitely a good option because the intense amount of damage that it does provide. And it's also really helpful for taking out vehicles as well. All right, so for the perks, these are going to be essential as well. So for perk number 1, we are going to be rolling with Cold-Blooded. This one's going to allow us to be undetectable by targeting systems, thermal optics, and it also will keep you hidden from recon drones. Now for perk number 2, Ghost, once again, is going to be very essential. People are constantly buying UAVs, and that's a really easy way to just die and go back to the main menu if you're exposed on the minimap when you're playing Warzone. So you definitely want to have Ghost on to be able to stay alive as long as you possibly can. And by the way, I play a lot of solos, so having Ghost on is very important and essential. All right, so for perk number 3, Amped is going to be very helpful in swapping your weapons a lot faster and just using equipments faster throughout the match. For lethal, I do recommend using a C4. C4s are very helpful in Warzone for downing enemies if you don't want to get too close to them or you simply just don't have enough time to reload your weapon. Throwing a C4 will definitely buy you some time. Now for the tactical, it's optional. You can use whatever you want to, but if you are playing solos, I do recommend using a heartbeat sensor. It will allow you to just locate enemies around your map, especially in the beginning stages of the match, since no one really has their loadout yet or have Ghost. It's just going to allow you to be able to track down enemies and get some early kills. All right, so that about wraps it up for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button. It'll show me that you guys do want to continue to see content like this in the future, and make sure to subscribe if you are new around here. Join Turbo Nation today. I appreciate all the support you guys have been showing on the channel lately, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day, guys.